media at the moment is awash with speculation as to what caused the Princess of Wales to suffer abdominal surgery so serious it has led to a 2-week stay in hospital and months out of public view. It may be in the public interest to know if a senior royal is ill, but I don't believe they should have to disclose their diagnosis. Many illnesses can be deeply distressing, and having it splashed across media against their wishes could impact recovery, impact the children involved, and even the anxiety of the nation. Our monarchy is the physical embodiment of our flag. It is the only thing that stands between us and a sleazy, celeb cringe politician representing our country. They may not be perfect, but I believe it's our duty to form a ring of protection around our future Queen when she is suffering, not blame her for NHS waiting lists or fuel rumours of her diagnosis. And as for the bloodhounds determined to find out or disclose her illness, remember, it wasn't long ago that 2 pranksters invaded Kate's privacy while she was in hospital with morning sickness by tricking a nurse into passing their call to her room. And the nurse ended up taking her own life. Royals are still human beings. They deserve dignity and privacy over intimate health issues. So back off all you curious cats and leave Kate be. Now, what do you think? I'll go to you, Darren.
I actually do think that people should, when you find out something like the future monarch, whether it be the future monarch or the current monarch, is ill, the monarch represents the nation, right? The monarch is the crown, the figurehead of our nationhood, of our symbols and all the rest of it, who we are, what we represent. And I think to find out that they are mortally ill or dying or wounded or whatever else it might be, and God forbid it be any of those, by the way, but we don't know, right? We're purely speculating. But George VI, when he was ill, and that's Queen Elizabeth II's father, they didn't go around saying, oh, we must find out. Actually, there was a sort of it was a forbidden...
But the press is quite different now, isn't it?
Very much so, but I don't think...
And we're a less deferential society. I actually take a different view. I do think that countries like America, where their head of state, the medical records are available to everyone, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. And I also think it was very good that King Charles said that he was going to hospital for a procedure for enlarged prostate, because it's a problem that lots of older men suffer from, and I hope that it leads to lots of older men getting their prostates checked out, because prostate cancer is a leading cause of death for older men. So I do think there can be merit to the medical records and the medical ailments of our head of state being made public, because it can encourage better behaviour among the people.
What if they have young children, though, who, if they see all these media buzzes and headlines about how ill and sick their parent is, because Kate has very young children, Charles doesn't.
Well, I'm talking about the head of state, and also the children would already know that their parent was unwell, wouldn't they? So I imagine the princes and the princess will know what is wrong with their mother.
But is it not part of the whole mystery of the crown, and the Queen did this so beautifully, is what made her so special, that they don't publicise their private lives? And there's been enough of that in the media and in books and whatever else lately. That's that mystery of the crown that makes it so special. I mean, we also have lines of succession for a reason. If there's an ill monarch, then we have the next one take over. I think that's what it's all about. And you can't really compare a president who's elected by the people to represent them and pass policies and all those things. It's a little different.
The head of state.
But it's a little different.
I mean, look, the policy hasn't changed from Queen Elizabeth II. We were always notified when she was in hospital or anything, and it was utterly terrifying every time, which you don't quite get now. But what I'd say is that, first of all, it comes this idea that we own these people, that because they are constitutionally in charge at some point, that we have an ownership over every aspect of their life, which I find slightly uncomfortable. But I would point out that in 2009, Andrew Marr famously asked Gordon Brown, who was said to be unwell at the time, I think it was largely untrue, whether he was on medication and what medication he was taking. And it was very widely condemned. Andrew Marr was criticised for asking the Prime Minister about his private health. And so we don't have a culture of expecting to know this about our elected politicians. And so maybe it's quite unfair that they feel they have to tell us these private details.
Well, and also when the Queen was ill, I mean, she may have had blood cancer or something like that for years, but we don't know. But it wasn't put out there in the papers, because I think it would have given the country a kind of anxiety to have constant, headlines about the sickness of our state, head of state.
Just one quick point, which is you talked about the nature of the media has changed. I think in reality, especially in the age of the camera phone, all the rest of it, the idea that they could go to hospital, that they could disappear for 2 weeks without anyone noticing is for the birds, and it would fuel speculation and conspiracy if we weren't told.
Yes, and I mean, in the American context, right, you don't have to be told that Joe Biden is a bit past it, right? You can just see it's obvious.
Yeah.
And I think it's an interesting one, but then the other point, the main point, isn't actually about the head of state. Belinda was talking about Kate, the Princess of Wales. Should she tell us why she's in hospital?
Look, my point is about the head of state.
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
I think for less important roles, it's probably not as relevant as for the head of state. I was making direct comparison between the US president and the king or the queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and I think it is probably right that the king or queen, and when Kate is queen, that we do have an understanding of the health of our head of state as other countries do. It's not abnormal in the 2020s for that to be the case.
Right, answer that question then, each of you. Should we know what Kate is in hospital for?
Do you know, when I saw the details, it made me feel a bit uncomfortable because, I wouldn't want other people knowing that about me. But the fact is, their health and survival is essential to our constitution. So I think pragmatically we should.
No, I think it's all a bit off.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
And I obviously agree
100% no.
with that
I
as
think
well.
that there are some intimate and deeply, embarrassing sometimes illnesses.
Okie doke, folks.